Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be discussing the intention of the British Prime Minister Liz Truss to move the British embassy to Jerusalem following constant lobbying from Israeli officials. Now it's important to note here, the interest of moving the British embassy to Jerusalem isn't a British interest, it's an Israeli interest. That's why they constantly lobby countries all across the world to move their embassies to Jerusalem. Now, why do they want that? Jerusalem, East Jerusalem to be specific, has been under international law considered as occupied territory since 1967. Now, Israel has been long trying to establish a level of legitimacy, full legitimacy, across all of Jerusalem, not just West Jerusalem, all of Jerusalem. Another thing Israel wants is legitimization to its constant actions in Jerusalem and in the occupied Palestinian territories. Now, let me note very clearly here, I am a Palestinian of Israel who's very much interested in ending the conflict altogether. However, it's important to highlight when some issues don't necessarily go towards the peace direction, but the opposite way. Look what happened a few years ago when Donald Trump moved the US Embassy to Jerusalem. More escalations, more tensions, more bloodshed for no reason. There is absolutely no reason. You're giving Israel further legitimacy to its unjust, illegal actions against Palestinian people and Palestinian territory, and you're not supporting the peace process by any means necessary. Now, we need to also go back in time for a bit, especially when it comes to the British role in Palestine. Now, Britain is mostly known for the 1917 Balfour Declaration and its promise to give the Jews a national home in Palestine. Now, not many people hear about or talk about the 1939 White Paper that was done to basically try and correct the mistakes that were or things that were missing from the 1917 Declaration, give the Arabs more rights, limit the immigration, and kind of make sure that it's pretty much in even balance between Arabs and Jews and Israel. Following the White Paper publication, the Zionist gangs in Israel started aggressive attacks against the British Mandate forces. The pinnacle of those attacks was on the 22nd of July 1946 at the King David Hotel. The King David Hotel, the southern wing of it specifically, was housing the British administration headquarters. So British officials, soldiers, workers, admin staff were working there. On that day, Zionist gangs disguised as Arabs infiltrated the area with a truck loaded with almost half a ton of explosives. They've unloaded all of these explosives hidden in milk cans into the kitchen and then under the area that exactly housed the British Mandate Administrative Headquarters. It detonated after 30 minutes, killing over 93 people. British officials, workers, staff, British soldiers, and innocent bystanders. The victims were British, Arabs, a few Jewish people, even a Greek and an Egyptian, if I'm remembering correctly, and an Armenian. Following the attack, British Prime Minister, the then British Prime Minister, Clement Attlee, called the act one of the worst attacks in history. It was an attack at such a massive scale that even compared to attacks that happened in World War II, it took a lot for the then Prime Minister of Britain to say those words. Now, if you want to take your embassy to Jerusalem, not only do you have to understand the consequences on the ground, you also need to think about what happened at Jerusalem previously, what it symbolizes, and what it still does, not only to Jewish people, but to other people as well. It contains the holy sites of Muslims, of Christians, and Jews. Having full Israeli control especially at the recipe that we have today, full brutal occupation and an apartheid regime, only fuels matters and makes things worse on the ground. So before you make that move, you need to make some calculations and rethink the interests of Britain in moving the embassy to Jerusalem and the implications it could have, especially on innocent lives. Now, further legitimizing Israeli presence in the occupied territories gives Israel a boost of morale. That, oh yeah, we're doing fine. Yeah, we have the backing of Britain, we have the backing of the US, of course. So, yeah, full impunity. However, if you do want to support a real solution and not just succumb to Israeli lobbying and pressure, then you need to rethink the steps that you're taking. And mentioning the Israeli lobby, it's a very fierce lobby that constantly works 24/7 to get what it wants. So while it may be symbolic to some people and not have much intention and reasoning behind it, it does carry a lot of meaning and it can have very negative effects on the ground, and it needs to be reviewed. Click on that face, that guy's face over there. Does it say subscribe? Click subscribe. If it doesn't, then you're already subscribed and you've done an amazing job. Click now on this video right here. Can you see it? Have you watched it? If you have, I love you. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Click it, watch it, come on.